Hello and welcome back to Couch Talks with Wally, me talking while I'm sitting on. I'm not in the studio, we're doing podcast style Wally. Hello and welcome back. It is Couch Talks with Wally, Wally's Couch Cast, Wally's Casting Couch. Hello and welcome back to the couch. Yes, we are back doing podcast style Wally, where it's a little bit more of a chill time talking about different types of things that might be on my mind. And today is going to be an absolute doozy of an episode. But anyway, I try to not talk about myself too much because I like to be a private person, but this is something that is so intertwined with everything about being a Jehovah's Witness. And even if you've never been a Jehovah's Witness, just growing up in a high control group and just all of the different types of fallout when it comes to yourself and your own personal growth and things that you might struggle with as you progress through life, and how it completely messes up a family. So a real emotion packed episode. So hopefully I'll keep it together, but that means I probably won't. So where to begin? First off, I guess we'll just start there because that makes as much logical sense as anything. Is I don't know if you guys have noticed a little bit of a difference in me over the last few months, but I have made some significant lifestyle changes. So wind the clock back a couple of months ago, 3-4 months ago, and I was about 240 pounds. My skin was a yellowishy greenish color, had no glow to it. I wasn't feeling super great. Back always was hurting. All of my internal organs were usually hurting, but oftentimes you can just put on a strong face and kind of grit your teeth and bear it, so to speak. But the root cause of most of that physical issues, and no doubt those extended, or they were, mental issues that I needed to deal with. But anyway, I'm dancing around because ZZ is about to knock something over. ZZ, can you just not like be a troublemaker? I can't put anything anywhere. Anyway, I had a coming to Jesus type of moment where I came to terms with the fact that I was drinking too much alcohol. And it was something that I had been aware of for a while. And my mental state was such that I was afraid. I was afraid that because I started drinking more when I left the Jehovah's Witnesses, and it became part of my identity as this new version of myself. And I didn't have any separation between the two. I had a moment where I thought, when's the last time that you just hung out were in a social situation where you didn't drink or you didn't feel the need to drink? And it's like, well, I can't remember. Well, when's the last time you went to bed and you didn't have a drink? Again, I can't remember. And so it was out of control, I guess is the best way to put it. When you feel like you are no longer the one making the choice, it's like alcohol in my life was as ubiquitous as drinking water or breathing air. It was something it was just going to happen throughout the day. And I had a moment where I knew that I needed to stop. And that stopping process is awful. It is truly insane. If you don't know how much alcohol really affects you, I highly recommend doing some research on it, because it's not only your body, but it's your mind. It's your central nervous system. My physical body did not know how to function or what to do. Typing on a keyboard because your hands are shaking so much, just not even being able to sleep because your brain just feels so scrambled. It is not fun at all. Uh, Worth it. Obviously it's worth it, and being on the other side of that is amazing. But another thing that I had to realize is it's not necessarily something that you just like beat. It's not a video game where you're like, oh well, I beat the last world in the game and now blah blah blah, it's over. It's more of something that you resist over time, and just learning and adapting to that struggle and that battle. But um, it does have a negative effect, especially when it comes to me being able to keep up with my friends and people that I've met online. So I just want to say to anyone that might be a little bit annoyed or angry, even that maybe in the last couple months I've been unavailable, haven't been getting back to people like I normally would. And that's just because Wally has not known who Wally is. I I didn't know what this identity was going to look like. It sounds over dramatic, but it's like adapting an entire new personality, because everything and the way I perceived it was that, I needed alcohol in order to be that person that people like. And that really scared me, because that is a very deep rooted thing that I struggle with, is never really understanding why most people just don't really like me all that much. But we'll get into that in a second here. But just to say, I'm sorry, and I'm trying my best, and I'm slowly just trying to get back to everyone. So if it's been difficult, if not impossible, just know I've been trying to make all of these changes. So on a happier, more positive note, I can look at myself in the mirror again. My skin looks good. I have so much energy. I feel really good. For the first time, I stepped on a scale and it was under 200 pounds. So I've been working out every single day, and I'm the master, I don't know, master, but I'm making mocktails like you wouldn't believe. Drinking way too much coffee, but I guess I'll battle one addiction at a time. But just remember, like, addiction doesn't have like one stereotype. Like, it might be someone that you watch on YouTube when you're having your afternoon coffee or something, and that person could really be struggling, and it's like, I think some people, when they come with like really mean comments or just trying to spread negativity always in the world, just little stuff like that can really affect you if you're not right in the head. And I guess it's just a reminder to be kind to people, because you never really know what anyone might be going through. And there's a good chance it could be a lot more than you could ever expect. Because like for me, essentially trying to drown out negativity was the norm. And with social media and everything, it's so easy for that toxicity to just spread, and for people to bandwagon on absolutely nothing. People will bandwagon and dogpile on people for things that didn't even really happen. it can just get out of control so quickly, and just not for me, but for anyone out there. Just remember, people might be going through a lot, and someone that's an addict might not, be robbing a 7-Eleven with tracks on their arm and no teeth. It could be anywhere. And so sometimes just having love and support um, is one of the most important things, because it gives someone that's going through that something to live for. It gives them that sense of purpose. It gives them that unchanging love that I think is quintessential for our existence. With all of that being said, this is a very long segue into getting to talking about even more things, but I'm gonna go make some tea. Uh, okay, tea is here. Where to begin? I guess just a little backstory here, a little more Wally lore. I didn't grow up with my biological father. He wasn't in the picture whatsoever. I think it was my impression, or what was told to me, that he left when I was very young, and that was about it. And then they always told me he was on the East Coast or something, far away, whatever. I don't know. No one ever talked about it. No one ever gave any reasons why. If I ever asked, it was immediately shut down. It was just a no-fly zone, and they weren't having it. Zizi, please don't knock puzzle pieces over. It's not necessary. I know you want to be in the box. Zizi, there's a box on the ground that you can sit in just for you. You don't have to get in the puzzle box. I know you're here. I know you can hear me. No. Why? Why are you the way that you are? Anyway, so yeah, something that never was really talked about or discussed, which I always internalized. I always looked at things um, as my burden to bear. And so I thought it was my fault somehow, that because I have an older brother, and they stayed together when he was born, but it was only after I was born. That's when you don't talk about things, you sort of, a child can create their own narrative for things. And when you refuse to talk about things, or uh, maybe make comments, or even say things that would suggest that it was the kid's fault, it can get real problematic. So parents, don't do that. It's a real bad thing. Anyway, I had just always struggled with, like, how someone could just abandon uh, a child. Like, just what was so fundamentally wrong with me as a human being walking around this planet, that was so completely unlovable that you would just want to, like, abandon it. Or problems and stuff with my mom as well, but we won't go too far in that. Anyway, so that's kind of just like how I grew up. And then if I ever do talk about my dad, I'm talking about my stepdad, who came in a little bit later. But anyway, that's neither here nor there for this particular story. So I had met my biological father only one time. Uh, like, actually met him, and I think I met when I was very, very little, but vague memories, hard to even, like, put anything together. But I met him one time when I was at a convention, and I was just walking around. I was probably 16, 17, and someone grabs me by the arm and says, Walter. Now, no one calls me Walter. I've always go by Wally. Literally no one in my everyday life, save for a few people as a joke, would ever call me Walter. So it was like, huh? Who are you talking about? And this person was like, I'm your aunt. And I was like, no, you're not. um, and they said, do you want to meet your dad? And I was like, oh boy. Now, it's a little, my dad was black, my mom is white. Was, well, Yeah, anyway. Um, so obviously I'm like, yeah, I don't know any of the black side of my family. So anyway, within about 30 seconds of hearing Walter, someone is grabbing my arm and walking me over to meet my biological father. This is unplanned, no context whatsoever, just this wound that could never heal because you could never touch it, you could never open. It was just this thing that always hung over me that no one would ever talk about or discuss. And then, boom, as a 16, 17-year-old, you're face to face with it. And it went about as well as you could possibly imagine, which is not good at all. Because, like, hearing this, I, this pathetic, sorry sack of an excuse of a human being, in my opinion, tell you that they're sorry, and you look them in the face as the child, and you say, sorry for what? Maybe that's why people don't like me, because I say stuff like that. But sorry for what? What are you sorry for? Nothing. Tears, blah, 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 nonsense. And it's just like, that was my experience. And eventually I was like, okay, don't be such a jerk. So I gave him my phone number and I said, like, the door's open, like, I'll meet with you, whatever. But here's my phone number. You know how to get a hold of me. It found out that he and a lot of my family members actually lived fairly close, within like a 30-minute drive. So that was all news to me as well. So, wow, we're just learning all sorts of things today. So that pretty much just like cooked my brain. Did not take it super well because I just looked at it as like, what's so wrong that you would just be 20, 30 minutes away from this child that you made with your penis, and you're not curious, you don't say anything. You see me, we're going to the same freaking conventions. You see me on this stage at these conventions, yapping my lips about Jesus. You know I'm there. I don't know. Anyway, never calls, never hear anything back, and that was basically the end of it. So again, that wound I never really dealt with that too well, I suppose. But that kind of transitions into this overarching feeling that I had about like, what is so wrong with Wally that no one wants a Wally in their life. And it makes me more prone to just shrinking back, because a lot of times my first reaction is, oh, that person just doesn't, they just don't care. They're just like everyone else. They just don't care. And so I'm just really easy to like just pull back. And I know I got to get out of my head about that. I am really struggling now. So anyway, after going through the hell of feeling that, all growing up, that there was something fundamentally wrong with me, and then I left the organization, and people are telling you that you're Satan, that you're selfish, and that you're just falling for Satan's lies, and you're delusional, and you're crazy, and essentially not having like anyone. It was a hard, slow process to try and gain just basic self-confidence out there in the real world, which I guess I'm glad that I'm tough as nails and could go through that. But yeah, it was not easy having to go through that, basically all growing up and then losing your family again. So that all leads to this morning, just a couple of hours ago. I was checking my email and I see this long email from someone that said that they had been watching the channel for a while and they had been disassociated for like years, and and they were like, I heard you talk about the area that you used to live in, and I was wondering if you might be my cousin. Um, just we'll fast forward a little bit, but turns out that this person was my cousin, and it gave me the first time or the opportunity to learn a little bit more about that side of my family, because for the last 34 years no one would ever really talk about it all of that much. And so that was all just, I'm still processing that because it was just a little bit ago. But turns out that my biological father is dead. And the reason that he died, this is why it'll all make sense for those of you that actually stuck around, is he died from cirrhosis of the liver and kidney failure. So, poor bastard drank himself to death. So there's that. So that, according to what I learned today, that was a couple years ago, and they were quite surprised that I didn't know that. But I guess I wouldn't have had any way of knowing that from anyone. But uh, also I found out why um, my mom left, and apparently he was a horrible drunk and very abusive. And it wasn't just with my mom; it was with other people that he was with. Uh, he theoretically, supposedly, if posterity's watching this and I get something wrong, can you give me a break? I'm getting secondhand information a couple of hours ago. So anyway, yeah, with other women as well. And so I have a couple of half siblings out there somewhere roaming around these here United States of America. So if you see anyone with a deep voice and fabulous lips, then they might be related to me. But it was kind of weird because at first I was like, whatever, I guess he just died. And like, I didn't know him. I can't really, like, it's not like a grieving thing. But I guess it's the finality of a lifetime just gone by. And I wonder what that is like for someone to go to their grave with, knowing they never tried in any way to do anything meaningful ever for their own child. And it's hard to not internalize that and go back to the old, what's so wrong with me that everyone just wants to hate Wally? What do I do that is so egregious that ugh, makes me this creature of just everyone's. Anyway, but I guess it's just the finality of it. It's just like there's a little voice somewhere inside your mind that's thinking, hey, maybe one day they'll leave the religion and maybe they'll at least want to get a cup of coffee and I could get some answers. Or I could just learn about, who this person is or was, from the source. And I guess just having that as not an option anymore, because the other side, they won't talk about it even if you do bring it up. So I am curious to learn a little bit more. Apparently that entire side of the family is just you could probably write a book about it. So lots of chaos. Uh, yeah. Anyway, so that was my morning. Was learning about my biological dad, and it was all because of YouTube. So what a crazy set of events that was. But anyway, I guess to wrap this little learning about Wally sob story, whatever the heck you want to call it, is just try and be there for people, and just remember, like, not everyone is the brave person that they put forward. That person might really be hurting inside, and sometimes extending a little grace can go a very long way in helping that person recover. And maybe you're going to help hundreds of people throughout your life that you don't even realize that you're helping, just by being kind. So anyway, that's my big takeaway. Crying on camera again, so congratulations everyone that would like to make fun of my red lips and talk about how I must wear makeup and wear lipstick. So yeah, I'm sure they're even more flushed than normal. But with all of that being said, stay safe, be kind, and don't forget to smile. Because, honestly, sometimes that smile, that might be the only thing that gets you through the day. So just remember, every day, try and find one thing to put a smile on your face.